Hello Year 10 and welcome to a Sibelius 7 tutorial. In this tutorial you learn how to set up a Sibelius score as well as to how to enter and how to compose a melody into the program known as Sibelius. So when you first open you'll come to a screen that looks like this. I want you to go ahead and click blank. This will give you a blank sheet of which you can then add instruments. So let's do that first. We go over to this right panel here and you'll have Document Setup. I want you to go down and click Change Instruments. I want you to pick one instrument from your list of instruments that you want to compose for in your composition. So for this example in this tutorial, I'm going to pick piano and I'm going to go add the score. If I want to take any of those away, I can do that quite simply. Or if I want to add them, I can just add them to the score. Make note that piano A means the treble clef and piano B means the bass clef. A, right hand, B, left hand. Once you've selected one instrument to write the melody for, you go OK. Okay, and you'll come up with this over here. That shows you what your score looks like so far. Next, we're going to pick a time signature to work with. Think about your melody that you practiced in the previous task, that you recorded or you memorized. Think about what time signature that might be. If you need help from Mr. Lee, then just ask. I'm going to pick 4/4 for this example that I'm going to show you. We won't worry about tempo at the moment because that is something that we can add later. Next, I'm going to pick my key signature. I've decided that I'm going to do mine in a minor key and I'm going to do mine in in E minor. The relative major being G major. Next, we're going to go down and we're going to write in the title. So I want you to put your first name and then your last name. Okay, keep in mind that once again we will be able to change the title, the composer, lyricist, and all other text information at a later date. Once we've done all this, we click create and we will come up with our score. So as you can see, there's the title and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different bars. We've also got a keypad down here which we use for manually inputting notes. Okay, and we've got our menu bar up here. Okay, so we've got note input, which is where we put notes in, notations, which is where we put symbols. We can change time signature, put in bar lines. We've got text, we can put lyrics in, chord symbols. This is for our playback so we can hear what we've put in. And that's really all we need to know about so far. But there's heaps of things you can do on here. It might be a good idea at some point to take the time and look through everything. First things first is we need to input notes in here. We're not going to use this keypad. Instead, we're going to use the MIDI keyboards, which should be on your desk or in the cupboard or back shelf of MR1. So what I want you to do is go and grab a USB keyboard and plug it in to the Mac via USB. Go ahead and do that now. Once you've plugged in your USB keyboard, there should be a light on there. If there isn't, make sure the switch on the back is working and make sure the USB cable is not faulty. Once you have connected it, we need to get Sibelius to recognize that you have connected a keyboard. So to do that, we go to Note Input, Input Devices, and we make sure that we have this one selected under Input Devices. If it's not there, we just click Find New Input Devices and it should come up in this list. Go ahead and click on that and go. Okay. Now that we have that recognized, we need to do just one more thing. We need to go to Renotate Performance. We can't do that yet. My mistake. Okay, let's go to play. Now, when you go to play, you're going to have all these menus along here. This is where you can play back what you've written. This is where you can stop, you can go back, but I want you to pay particular attention to this guy here. This is the record button. And what it's going to do when you record, there's going to be a little bit of lag between when you press the notes and when the notes are recognized by the computer. This is called lag. It's just a natural part of playing MIDI instruments on computers. So what the computer does is it anticipates what notes, the length of notes that you might play. So we have to keep this in mind when we do this. Okay. Now I asked you before if you can try to memorize what you played on your keyboard. Okay, that's because we're going to play what you did into Sibelius. In order to do that, we're going to have a metronome tapping at a certain tempo. Okay, so if we want to fiddle around on Sibelius, we can do this quite easily. Once we've connected the keyboard, if you want to hear the piano and just get a feel but not record, make sure you do not have this highlighted at all. So click off, and if you press the keyboard, you should be able to hear your instrument. I might turn that up. It's quite soft, so you won't be able to hear it in this recording. I'll see if I can turn this up. Okay. When you're ready to record, you select the bar you want to record in, and all you do is you press this record button up here. It will give you 4 counts, and then you should be able to play. Here's an example. Okay. Once you're done, you stop. Okay. And you notice that it's pretty good. A lot of my notes are in fact whole notes, and there's no weird looking things. But something can happen where you might not get nice clean entrances like we've got here. So let me play another example for you. By the way, to get rid of that, you select the first bar, and then you select the last bar. Make sure you hold down shift, and then you press delete or backspace, and that will get rid of what you have written. So once again, I'm going to give you another example, and this time I'm not going to play to the tempo. Instead, I'm just going to go a little bit crazy. Alright, here we go. Okay, you can see here that we've now got a couple of problems. Basically, what we've entered has instead turned out to be a little bit out of time, which means that basically we've got all these really quite intricate rhythms that aren't exactly what I meant to play. They weren't what I was trying to play, and it shouldn't look like that. So in the event that that's happened, all I have to do is click on the first bar and click on the last bar that I play in. I'm going to go back to note input, and I'm going to go to renotate performance, and I'm going to say, okay, so when I was playing that, the smallest or the shortest note value that I had was probably closer to a quaver. So what this is going to do is it's going to say anything that's shorter than a quaver, it's going to round it up to the nearest quaver. So we've got some semiquavers here, so that should get rid of those instruments, those note values, sorry. And I don't want any triplets because I didn't mean to play any triplets. So I'm just going to go OK. And that's going to transform that into something that looks a little bit more logical. There is a couple of problems here and there, but that's nothing that we can't fix. So I hope what this has showed you is how to record using a MIDI keyboard. And in future lessons, we'll learn how to record using, or how to input notes, using the keypad over here. It really works in the same principle, but it's a little bit different and a little bit more tricky. But hopefully what this should do is it means that you are able to easily enter notes into Sibelius and get an accurate recording or notation of your melody. Now I want you to begin to record your melody into Sibelius using the USB keyboard.